I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
Colby and Chip.
Which group is this?
Sin and Glory.
Sin and Glory. This isn't the official video, is it?
I mean, I don't know. This is the one they gave us. Doesn't look like the official, but maybe it is.
Yeah, it looks like the official video to me.
Okay.
Okay, this is Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue. I think, have we done any Motley Crue? I don't think we have.
That doesn't sound at all familiar to me.
I don't think we have done any Motley Crue. Okay, so this is Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue from the Sin and Glory Patreon Alliance group. If you want to join, all you have to do is $1 ticket at the gate at Patreon. We've got that down there in the socials in the description. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. For the last 2 days, we've had the Democratic debates, and so we live streamed that and hung out. You can check those out at Middle America. And aside from that, that's it. Let's get right into it. Shout at the Devil, Motley Crue.
Go.
pretty heavy. You know, Motley Crue, that whole 80s thing, and the guys looking all pretty and beautiful and shit. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
You know, I never really gave them a shot, but it got pretty heavy, especially toward the end. Like, it's I'd stereotyped them. I not necessarily think that they would be heavy. I thought it was all just, you know, dudes dressing up, looking all pretty, and then singing a bunch of ballads every 2 seconds. But I don't know, man. These guys in 1983. These guys are pretty. They're pretty heavy, especially toward the end. I love live shows. I'm just a sucker for live shows. Mm-hmm. I love to see when the band is like into their stuff.
Yes.
Like that.
I liked when they were moving together.
Oh yeah, with the singer and the guitarist were moving together. That's what's up. Okay, shout at the devil. He's a wolf screaming lonely. I mean, this is literally talking about the devil.
That's what it seemed like to me.
Which, again, if you were around in the late 80s, I mean, early 90s, and you'd get these traveling ministers that would come to the church and talk about the dangers of rock and roll. And
that's exactly what I was thinking of when I was watching this.
And
I'm like, this is right here, the perfect thing that they would point out.
Exactly. Especially the end thing when he's doing this. Mm-hmm. Like, to this day, I'll have people that'll message me like, you do know that icon that you're doing is a devil sign, don't you? Like, I'll have Christians that'll say that to me. And then I had a friend who was convinced that George Bush, the one that we had, the one that sent us into the Iraq War, he was convinced that George Bush was a devil worshiper.
Oh, really?
I'm like, why?
Well,
and he's like, he's got all these pictures like this.
What?
Because there's tons of pictures of George Bush doing this. And so he's like, what reason does George Bush have to do that? He's not even in a metal band, so you can't even hide that. So how do you answer that? And it's like, well, he's from Texas. And the Texas Longhorns, like, this is their symbol. It's like,
oh, I didn't know that.
They all do it, you know. It's supposed to represent the. And then he goes, likely story. Like, yes, that's the story. You weird person. I still love him, but good lord. Okay. So it's shout at the devil, and the subject matter is the devil. He's the wolf screaming lonely in the night. He's a blood stain on the stage. He's a tear in your eye. He's been tempted by his lie. He's a knife in your back. He's rage. He's the razor to the knife. Oh, lonely is our lives. My head spinning round and round, but in the seasons of wither we'll stand and deliver. Be strong, laugh, and shout at the devil. So, I think he's saying that the devil is like the bad parts of everything. Mm-hmm. And he's the knife in your back. He's rage. He's a razor to the knife. So, this to me actually sounds like it's going against the devil to some degree. Yeah,
when you read it that way, but for some reason when it was playing, I didn't get that.
Yeah, it seems like, it says right here explicitly, he's a tear in your eye, been tempted by his lie. Mm-hmm. He's a knife in your back, so he's basically, every negative thing in your life is the devil, and you got to stand and deliver, overcome it. You got to be strong, and then shout at the devil. Like, so this to me is like a perfect example of like, although I will say that one of the guys in the band was exploring Satanism, and I guess originally it was supposed to be called Shout to the Devil, but you know, obviously, when Zutot saw 6 nights later, he witnessed a knife and fork rise off the table and stick into the ceiling.
Oh.
I looked at Nikki and freak out. There's no more shout with the devil. If you keep shouting with the devil, you're going to get killed. I truly believe that Nikki had unknowingly tapped into something evil, something more dangerous than he can control, that was on the verge of seriously hurting him. Nikki must have realized the same thing because he decided on his own to change the album to shout at the devil.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
he told him, it looks cool, it's meaningless, symbols and shit. I'm just doing it to piss people off. It's not like I worship Satan or something. And then two nights later, he saw the stuff levitate. And that's when they changed it to shout at the devil. Why are you laughing?
It's just funny because, like, I mean, we've seen this with other people where they, like, mess around with the devil, and then if I was the devil, I wouldn't go that far. Like, I would have just stopped and not, like, tried to freak the guy out, because then all the stuff got changed, you know what I mean?
Well, a lot of people don't get freaked out by it. It makes them more and more curious. And it makes them go, whoa, you really have the power, so I'm going to devote myself to you. That, to me, his response is strange. I thought most people would be like, whoa, this is awesome, let's keep doing it. Most people, you know,
I don't know. The people
like
that I've talked
Ouija,
to.
Well, you're
the
Pentecostals.
No.
The Ouija board and stuff, and light as a feather, stiff as a board. Like, when that stuff actually works, people are like, oh shit, I want to see more.
No, that's not what happened with the people that I was around. And they were not raised in Christian homes.
Not the people I was around.
It freaked them out, and then they stopped it.
Yeah, most of the people I ran into, when they've had those dark supernatural experiences, it made them more curious and made them want to really indulge in it. Those were also extremely, extremely dark people that I met in Manhattan on 14th Street. Two of them actually are dead now because one of them killed themselves in a pretty terrible way. But yeah, true story. Yeah.
Well, that's sad.
So yeah, I mean, it just depends on how people. I've done this a few times, like. In the comments section, go let us know if you've ever had any like dark supernatural experiences, or you don't have to call them supernatural if you're an atheist, or dark unexplained reasons that science will eventually explain in 300 years. I'm winking. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like people, you know, like on the one hand, it's kind of weird in the medieval age. A lot of the strategy was to make the devil look like a cartoon character and silly and trivial. And the point of that was to try to kind of strip him of his power, because people were so terrorized by the concept of the devil. And so in the medieval period, you had people like...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you know, he'd wear socks that are too long and stockings that are too long, and you dressed him up in this red jumpsuit with the tail. And the design was to like mock him so that people could feel a little bit more safe.
Really?
Because people were so superstitious. That was the idea.
Okay.
But then when you...
I mean, I've seen those pictures, but I didn't know that was the...
That
was the point.
Yeah. And then what happens in the modern world is that, you know, now you've got this trivial idea of, when a lot of, like, people think about the devil from a Christian perspective, they're looking at it like that. Like, they think we believe that the guy in the red jumpsuit with the pointy tail.
Oh.
They think that we think that there's a guy running around and we're scared of that guy. Oh. And so what they do is they trivialize it. They think it's a big joke, not realizing that that's not what the Bible says about the devil, and that it's no joke.
Right.
And then they find out, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And some of them, they're drawn to it. Other people freak out. I mean, it just depends on what your predisposition is, I suppose. But, you know, and I don't talk about the devil a lot. You know, you came from a more Pentecostal background, so you guys are more, you know, in my opinion, superstitious about the devil.
We saw a lot of stuff happen. I mean, like, you know, like how they're explaining, like, the levitation of the fork and the knife. Yeah. Like, there's some stuff where you're like, oh, maybe that was something else. And then there's some stuff that's like that, where it's like, okay, there's no other way to explain that.
Right.
So we saw a lot of that type of stuff. So
a lot?
A lot compared to everybody else.
Well, how do you know compared to everybody else? How do you know people haven't had those experiences? They just don't want to talk about it because they'll sound crazy.
Oh, because I had no problem talking to other people about it. I'm talking about the people that I surrounded myself in. I wasn't around your crew type people, you know what I mean? Maybe if I was around those people, maybe they would, you know,
I think
whatever.
A lot of people, especially in metal culture, have had, you know, what did Marianne Wilson call it? I like her character, dark psychic energies is what she called it. I think a lot of people have had interactions with dark psychic energies that they just, you know, they're not going to call it that for whatever reason. You know, the mind is a very, very interesting thing. Or they felt in their spirit, like this area is isn't
That's
is
exactly what I was
infested
thinking.
with
Yep.
dark psychic energy.
Yeah.
By the way, somebody sent me a clip. I'll have to look at it later. I guess that Cummings guy from whenever, like 4 years ago, he called Baltimore a rat-infested drug den. Be on the lookout for the next Middle America episode. America's doomed. Okay. But yeah, like people like screwing around. People screwing around with stuff. Like, for the record, the scripture never says that the devil is just some stupid guy in a red jumpsuit. It actually says he's an angel of light. And that he's extremely powerful and deceptive. And he comes in many forms. So it's not this idea of, like, you know, he's walking around in a jumpsuit. But, you know, from a Christian perspective, like, I'm not afraid of the devil. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when we were in the hood and we had, like, other groups that were against us and we were against them, like, we would kind of, like, live around each other, like, and if something popped off, fine, but we were not scared of each other, but we also had a healthy respect for each other. Like, I'm not gonna walk through the Eden Wall projects by myself. I did once. Shout out to Candace, thank you, girl. But like, that's kind of what it's like. It's like I'm not afraid of the devil, but I'm also not gonna put myself in a situation where, you know, I open myself up to that
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure.
Because even though I don't see a devil under every rock, you've got to be pretty. I'm going to go through, you know, it's like Mulder and Scully. Like, I'm more inclined to go, well, what are the psychological... I'm more inclined to go psychological with a person before I go spiritual.
Oh.
Like, you know, like, this person is suffering under some psychological, you know, whatever. And a lot of that stuff you can attach it at that level and get the person some meds, and all of a sudden the devil's gone. So, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, but...
And I was always more like, it's all spiritual.
Right. But I've seen a couple times where I'm like, okay, a little bit different.
Yeah, this
is a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I showed that clip. I don't know what video was in it, that, you know, abortion doctor that was like, yes, I killed babies.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Like, this is a doctor. Like, you know, he spent 12 years in med school, and he's talking like that. Like, that guy's got some spirits in him for sure. But we'll stand and deliver, be strong and laugh and shout at the devil. It's kind of like, you know, like a defiant type of thing where we're not gonna...
He's gonna be all like this. He's gonna be the bad in all the things around us, but we're gonna be strong and we're gonna laugh.
Yeah.
She laughs at tomorrow. Of
course, from a Christian perspective, I don't believe that any of these dudes have any power to laugh at the devil.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's like that's a good sentiment, but from a Christian perspective, you don't have any power over Satan until, you know, you're in league with Christ. So it's a good sentiment, but not something that, you know, I mean, we'll see. And the devil works in a bunch of different ways. Like, I mean, if you're like, oh, this thing is levitating, let me change the title of the song, a person might go, oh, okay, like, that's cool. Meanwhile, you're coked up, you're doped up, and you got 9 girls in your trailer. That's the devil too. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, there's a lot of shell game playing, if you know, like, so it's like, oh yeah, you know, we overcame that, like, we're not messing with that dark spiritual stuff, but you're addicted to cocaine and women. Like, how is it different? You know what I mean? Verse 2 is interesting. He'll be the love in your eyes.
Yeah, why did it switch?
Ugh. Ooh. He'll be the love in your eyes, he'll be the blood between your thighs, and then he'll have you cry for more. He'll put strength to the test. He'll put the thrill back in bed. Sure, you've heard it before. He'll be the risk in the kiss. That's a good line. Yep. Might be anger on your lips. Might run scared for the door. So, that's ironic, because that's basically what he's talking about here, is like the sexual side of it, the lust stuff. Yep. And recognizing that, not that sex is bad or that sex is satanic, because God invented sex, but the type of sex that happens in, you know, the lifestyle that these guys are in is dark. And I think it's good that he recognizes that at whatever level, the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll energy, it's dark energy. It's not good. Oh, yeah. And, you know, it's celebrated a lot, but at the same time, it's something that is destructive for all parties involved.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a good look.
Selah said she had seen the thumbnails, and she goes, I noticed on your thumbnails that you and Mr. Vin had a conversation about let's talk about. And she goes like this, because we had done Adidas by Korn, which is Korn.
We did that in Trash back to back. Yeah.
Right. So she's like, why would you talk about that? And so then I was telling her, I said, well, I was like, you know how like God created sex and it's a good thing, but I said, always the devil takes something good that God makes and then he tries to spin it off and make it bad.
Right.
And so I said, there's a lot of bad spin-offs of that. So
Right.
I said, there's so many things to talk about.
Yeah. How'd she respond to that?
She said, it can't be. I said, what? She said, somebody would force someone. I said, that's one of the bad spin-offs, yes. She was horrified. I kind of felt bad that she pieced it together in her own mind, so.
I mean, what can you do?
I'm not gonna lie to her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, you know, like you said, sex is a good thing, but, you know, there are, you know, if you've got a trailer full of women and it's not just the, you know, a husband and the wife coming together, then it's not a good thing, so.
Yeah, I mean, we all know.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm in this, you know, debate, and actually going to be a moderated debate about sex work and pornography, and the way, you know, I was talking to Ian, he's like, the way these people are reacting is like irrational. And he's like, they have no data it's because everybody knows. You know, like, you know, using each other and treating a human being like that is, there's real dark intelligence behind that. And it's one of the things that's definitely the most, by the way, one of the sex workers we used to work with, they've got their kid.
I know.
You see that?
I saw that. Yes.
That was a pretty cool moment.
Yes.
That was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, it was.
Because I never thought she'd be able to.
I didn't either.
I thought that was over for her.
I didn't either.
She almost died a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy because she said she said that her daughter was her higher power. You know what I mean? Because that was what got her out of it. And then I was thinking, God is so good to people to give them a child, because somebody would have looked at her and would have said, sterilize that woman. She should never have any children.
Yeah.
And then here it is that the child that was the gift that God gave her is what ended up bringing her out of that lifestyle and into a safe place for her, because seriously, she would have died so young. Like.
Yeah, there were multiple times when people thought it was over.
They said she was going to die. They said she could not live.
They were RIPing her.
Yeah.
We went over there and everybody prayed for her.
Yes.
And that was a pretty crazy moment. So, like, we've seen the real dark underbelly of that whole that whole thing. So, and normally those endings don't end happily. So
yeah.
Those are generally not happy endings, and you know she's not completely out of the woods yet either. I know that, but it's crazy to see her with.
Oh my word! I was so happy
with
when
her
I saw it.
daughter.
I was like, oh my gosh!
Yeah, kids are. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, this song is very very interesting because it's extremely honest at some level. About some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And it was pretty heavy too. So this is one of those songs that you could play for sure. But sometimes I read an article one time where I think it was a Korn article where they were talking about, oh, this is going to go really good with the fans. Like this is going to be a banger for the fans. And like you could tell that this is one of those songs where they're like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good crowd participation song. And when you go to a live show, like those moments when it's like, like they're
so fun.
Yeah, they're really fun. Especially if it's like a very very simple phrase that even if you don't know the band, everybody can jump in on. Like this would be like one of those bangers. Can you imagine like 20,000-30,000 people saying this at the same time?
Oh man,
hands in the air. Like that's what's up.
Yeah,
that's really good. And these guys are pretty good showmen too. So hopefully we get more Motley Crue reaction requests. What do you give the song?
Actually, 9.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a good solid 9. not a song that I would necessarily listen to a bunch. It's not in my running track list.
Yeah.
But it is a pretty awesome song. Who is this?
A Sin and Glory.
Sin and Glory. That's Culpy, right?
It is.
Shout out to the big homie. All right, y'all. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.